comes the, here comes the, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the.
Even the NFL's greatest dynasty, led by Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots, went through a 10-year period before they reached and went to another Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks, what was supposed to be the NFL's next dynasty in the early 2010s, ended up fizzling out after 2 straight Super Bowl appearances, as they were unable to crack past the divisional round after those 2 straight Super Bowl appearances. Now, I say all that to say that the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they've been the class of the AFC in the last 5 to 6 years or so, they've been in the AFC Championship game 4 straight years. They've been the AFC West division winners the last 6 years. They do have the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes. They do have the most innovative play caller and head coach in the NFL in an Andy Reid. I'm not trying to take anything away from their past success, but we can't use their past success as a reason for why they're going to contend and as a reason as to why they're going to be the bona fide Super Bowl contenders that everyone seems to think that they are, when the context is not anywhere near the same. Yes, in the long term, they did win that trade with the Miami Dolphins, in which they sent a Tyreek Hill for 5 draft picks, 2 top 50 draft picks this year, and then a 4th and a 6th next year. I understand that was an unbelievable haul for a wide receiver. Given the fact that they did not have to pay him $30 million a year, that's also a win in and of itself. But as it pertains to this year and where they stand, as it pertains to the rest of the AFC and the guys in their own division in the AFC West, I do not think that they should be at the top of tier 1 of Super Bowl contenders in the AFC. Like I said, the context is just not the same. Tyreek Hill, you lose to Tyreek Hill, a guy that defenses, opposing head coach absolutely feared. I mean, teams literally had to play cover 4, and they had to send all these guys back just because of the fact that Tyreek Hill was stretching the field out so far down the field, opening up a plethora of holes and opening up plenty of things for this offense, especially in the short to intermediate areas of the football field. I'm not trying to take anything away from the best tight end in the game in Travis Kelce, but I think it'd be very disrespectful to say that Tyreek Hill did not open things up for Travis Kelce in the shorter to intermediate areas of the football field. So you take away Tyreek Hill, top 3 wide receiver in the game, the fastest wide receiver in the game. I mean, for crying out loud, this guy's nicknamed the Cheetah, challenging Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world. There's a reason why he's doing all these things. And so to say that, oh, we still have the best quarterback of football, we still have the most innovative play caller in football, you know, Tyreek Hill's not that much of a loss. He's a wide receiver. There's an abundance of those guys. I think that's absolutely disrespectful of the greatness of a Tyreek Hill. You also look at the ground attack, right? This team in the last 4 years has finished between 16th and 23rd in terms of rushing. And so going into this upcoming season, I don't see any reason as to why that's going to change. Ronald Jones, yes, might change the dynamics of this offense maybe just a little bit. We're hearing that they're looking to incorporate more power run in their ground attack, but he's also never eclipsed 1,000 yards in a season. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's had a hard time staying healthy. I'm not very confident in this ground attack. Offensive line, yes, still intact, still one of the better units in all the NFL. I'm going to ignore them. I think they're doing a splendid job there, but defensively, they've only gotten worse. They've lost their best player defensively in a Tyrann Mathieu, also who happens to be their takeaways leader the last 3 seasons, also the heart and soul of that defense, the leader of that defense, the most versatile player, most versatile chess piece on that defense is now gone. I'm not saying that the replacement in Justin Reed is a slouch. I'm not saying that he's a scrub. He's definitely an above average safety, but he's not a Tyrann Mathieu. He's a downgrade from a Tyrann Mathieu, but that's saying a lot just because Tyrann Mathieu is still one of the best safeties in all the game, one of the best and most complete DBs in all of football. And yes, he has been a little bit lousy in his tackling the last couple of years, but we can't ignore the impact that he had, the heart and soul of that defense. Not only that, you lose your best cover corner in a Chavarius Ward, one of the better press man corners that all the National Football League has to offer. We can't ignore that. And yes, there are moves to be made. Guys out there in free agency, they could bring in a Stephon Gilmore. They could trade for a James Bradbury from the Giants. But this team defensively, it already has been pretty bad these last couple of years. Frank Clark has gotten progressively worse, at least statistically and from a production standpoint, ever since he came over from Seattle in that trade. Chris Jones was utilized more correctly last year, but outside of Chris Jones, who are the building blocks on this defense? You have a division that is absolutely loaded, especially offensively, and you have a defense that's only getting worse. Not only that, I talked about Tyreek Hill and what his absence means for the Kansas City Chiefs. He bailed out Patrick Mahomes so many times, so many instances, so many times we would see a Patrick Mahomes roll out, scramble to his left, scramble to his right, and kind of he'd kind of buy time and wait for Tyreek Hill to just race past his man to blow the top off of defense. He got bailed out repeatedly. I'm not saying that Tyreek made Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that Pat Mahomes made a Tyreek Hill, but those guys definitely needed each other to be or to optimize their greatness. And so, yes, you bring in a speed demon, a track star, and a Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but he had arguably, if not the best quarterback of football, you had the second best quarterback of football in an Aaron Rodgers, and yet you was never able to eclipse 700 yards in a season. Juju Smith-Schuster, He only has one 1,000-yard season on his resume, and that was alongside an Antonio Brown. We haven't seen him do anything without an Antonio Brown, and I'm not taking anything away from a Juju Smith-Schuster, but I just don't think that he's this guy that everyone seems to think that he is around the league. At least to me, he still has to prove it. Josh Gordon, he's still somewhat of an unknown as it pertains to him. I just think that offensively, they're not striking as much fear just because last year we saw cracks in the armor. We saw holes in the armor, and Patrick Mahomes had a career high of interceptions with 13. Like I said, and like I mentioned before, everyone has talked about this, but they struggled against too high looks. And that was with the Tyreek Hill in the fold. And while they were able to kind of work around that towards the end of the year, how sustainable is that? Even with the innovative play caller like an Andy Reid, you can only do so much with the guys that you have. And McCole Hardman, even with the guys in the stacked offense that he's been playing in, just has not been able to prove to me why he was a second-round selection. I just don't see him, or I don't hope that this happens, but I don't see him just exploding and becoming a Tyreek Hill 2.0. I need to see more. And so offensively, this team is going to take a step back. In the ground game, they've been mediocre to less than average. Defensively, they're only getting worse. And then everyone around them is getting better. Remember my good friend Pond Sports? Well, again, I was using that website to kind of look at and compare all the AFC West teams in the last 4 to 5 years. I'm talking about the Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. And yes, it's very clear to me that the Chiefs are obviously, and they have been, the class of not only the division but the conference in the last 4 to 5 years. But look, I think right now the Kansas City Chiefs are kind of trending downwards, and I think every other team in the division is trending upwards. And look, I'm projecting and I'm looking into the future. I'm not saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are all of a sudden going to miss the playoffs. I do think that all 4 teams in the AFC West will finish with a record above 500. I do think that all 4 teams in the AFC West will make the playoffs, and I do think that there's only really going to be 1 or 2 games separating all 4 teams in the AFC West. And so for me to say that the Kansas City Chiefs are the worst team in the AFC West, that's not saying very much, just because there's not very much that separates all these football teams. And like I said at the top of the show, I do think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be at the bottom of tier 1 of Super Bowl contenders in the AFC. Right, a lot of things can happen, a lot of things can change between now and the start of the regular season, but I'm talking about what it means as it pertains to April 11th, 2022. I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs are the 4th best team in the AFC West until proven otherwise. And I just think that I need to see more from Patrick Mahomes without a Tyreek Hill. Yes, he went 4-1 as a starter without a Tyreek Hill back in 2019, where he was suspended and missed 6 games. But they all knew Tyreek Hill was coming back. Everyone knew that he was coming back. The NFL knew that he was coming back. And so, yes, it's nice to see a small sample size in which Patrick Mahomes performed admirably without a Tyreek Hill. And I know that this is a different sport, but you can have the best player at something and still not achieve all the team success that said team is looking to achieve. I mean, take, for example, the NBA's LeBron James, right? Some will argue that he's no longer the best player in the league. Some people will look at KD, Giannis, Steph, Luka, Nikola Jokic, and that's totally understandable. But there's still a lot of people that view LeBron as the best player in the NBA. He would have won the scoring title if he played 2 more games, but that Lakers team missed the playoffs by a wide margin this year, and they had the best player in basketball in LeBron James. And so the Kansas City Chiefs can't have the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes. They can't have the most innovative and the best head coach in football in an Andy Reid. But when you start to take away certain things and certain aspects and what makes a team special, then I don't think that they can come in next year and kind of just rest on their laurels and think that they can be as dynamic as ever. Yes, they probably have a plan. Yes, they probably have a whole bunch of guys that they're probably looking to get in the draft, after the draft, free agents and trades to be made. But I think right now, as things stand, I just can't put this team ahead of the Chargers, the Broncos, or the Raiders, especially in their own division. Now, I'm not married to my statements. I have said that before. A lot of my statements are fluid, and so don't be surprised if I end up changing my mind and making another video saying why they're no longer the worst team in their own division. But I just think as things stand right now, I don't think things are looking very upward. Now, in the long term, I definitely still see Super Bowls. I definitely still see them winning a whole bunch of games and making more AFC championships. But man, the AFC is just way too stacked for this team to just sit back and kind of just see all these other teams making moves. I mean, look, all good things must come to an end, right? And so I think, at least as it pertains to this year, the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to the bona fide Super Bowl contenders that everyone is still marking them to be. That marks the end of this episode, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you aren't already, please be sure to show us some love. Tell a friend and tell a fan. We are on the road to 4K. Help us hit 4,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe if you aren't already, of course. And if you aren't already as well, please follow us on Instagram. Please follow us on Twitter, as we've been working very diligently to work on our content on those platforms, to work on our following on those platforms. And so please be sure to give us a follow at Steezy A Smith, SteezySmith. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. We will be hosting a live stream later in the week, so be sure to tune into that. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. All glory to God. Amen. Have a good day, y'all, and Steezy out. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.